Everyone, and welcome to my channel. That's something that I've always wanted to say. Um, my name is Andrew. I'm a doctoral candidate in violin performance, and I'm making this video admittedly mostly for my own students, although of course any of you are free to watch it. I'm going to try to keep it very brief, very short, just a bullet point, quick little video to try and maybe clear up some of the more confusing aspects of vibrato. I find that many of my students come to me from hearing some things that they've heard from their school teachers or from private teachers they had before me, or even from friends who are learning vibrato with their own teachers. And they find it confusing. They say, I don't understand. Everyone's telling me something slightly different. I don't understand arm vibrato, wrist vibrato, hand vibrato, finger vibrato, hybrid vibratos. Some people say I should never vibrato more sharp than the note. The highest point is the pitch. Some people say I should go around it a little above and a little below. Some people say I should pull back from the note every time. Some people say I should push up into the note every time. I don't understand what is the truth. And so I'm going to try and focus on a few key aspects of vibrato that I think, in my own opinion, are more or less universal between everyone's approach to vibrato. I find, for me at least, that it doesn't really matter whether you use arm or wrist or hand or finger, what part of your body initiates the motion, whether you have the sense you're pulling or pushing, whether you go a little above the note or only up to the note. I find that it doesn't matter for me. Different schools of thought, different performers from different parts of the world, all have different opinions about it, and they all sound beautiful. There are many beautiful sounding violinists, and they all have different approaches. So I'm just looking for the key aspects that they all share. And I'm going to talk about that today, and hopefully that'll clear up some of the more confusing things. The big thing that I think is universal among all vibratos is that their last and smallest knuckle on the end of each finger is very flexible. That knuckle, if you get it to flex, man, you're in good shape for vibrato. That's really a big secret. For me, I get the sense no matter what I do, I can move the instrument in all kinds of ways. I can hold the instrument differently. I can use a shoulder rest. I can lean this way or lean that way, whatever. And nothing really is successful until I get I'll move my fingers out of the way so you can see, one bend. The minute it starts to actually flex in that way, that last knuckle, it doesn't matter whether it's flexing from above and back or only going up to the note. It doesn't matter if I start down and push up or start up and pull down. I find that all of those things can be negotiated differently depending on your preferences, your hand size, what's comfortable for you, the way you hold your instrument, how much you support the instrument with the thumb, and what angle you like to keep your hand at. That may affect all of those. But no matter what you do, how you hold the instrument, whether you use more arm or just a wristy motion with the hand, it doesn't matter. As long as that knuckle is flexing, you're going to be in good shape. And I think you can hear it immediately. I'll try and keep my fingers out of the way so you can see. If I'm on a third finger, on a stagnant note, nothing really happens, no matter what I do, until I get a good bend. Right? The minute that starts to bend, you really start to hear a distinctive vibrato. And from there you can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can use a metronome, you can use different rhythms, the same way we practice with the bow, different dotted rhythms and things. You can do that with vibrato too. It doesn't matter. Whatever exercises you choose to do to get more comfortable and familiar with the motion is up to you. But if you're getting that one knuckle to flex, second finger too is a really important one. It really does. Even fourth finger. Fourth finger is harder, but you can see even the fourth finger has that knuckle. And you can get that knuckle to flex just like the others. It takes a little bit more work. It's a little harder. But as long as you get that knuckle flexing, you're really in good shape. You still get a vibrato. And so I think that's the big secret. So you'll find some people will do this and they'll hone this really well with very little motion. Maybe second finger is the most clear on the camera for you to see. And they really don't move anything. Some violinists really don't move anything except that knuckle. I can't do it very well myself yet, but... And it really, the arm doesn't seem to move, the hand doesn't seem to move, it's very minimal motion. But that is very clear. And that's enough. If you can do that, more power to you. That works. I think there are some violinists, sometimes I think maybe Rachel Barton Pine is a good visual example of this. Sometimes when you watch her YouTube videos of her playing, you can't see very much motion in the arm or the hand when she vibratos, but you hear this beautiful, gorgeous wave in the sound because she's developed such a fine flexibility with that knuckle. And that's all it takes. Some people will use a more wrist or hand motion. I learned this way when I was younger. It creates a very, very wide sense. And you still get flexibility. You can see so clear as day, you get that. And of course, some people prefer to use the whole arm. And you get this sort of opening and closing visual element of the elbow. For me, I find that particular approach a little bit laborious, and some of my students have spoken to me about this as well. It's very tiring to see. It feels like every note is pull, 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 and it gets very tiring to do that. So for me, if I'm engaging the arm, I think less about pulling and pushing and trying to control it like this, and maybe I think more about giving it a good thrust, and then the rest of it is sort of passive motion, sort of sympathetic motion after you initiate it. That's my approach when I use the arm. If I need a very fast and immediate vibrato, you can see I start with the arm, I give it a good, and then the rest of it kind of trickles on down to the hand and knuckle. I think that's enough. For many things. Even if you give it one good thrust, that might last you a half note or something, depending on the tempo. I often find that's enough for me, and it tends to give a sort of a nice shape. From there, you can change it. Of course, you can choose to sustain it more or less. But that is one trick that I've found for that particular approach to vibrato. So I'm going to try and end this video here. If you have any more questions about anything, please feel free to leave comments below. If you have any critiques or different points of view, please feel free to share them. That way anyone else watching this video can see those points of view and those approaches as well, and can try them at home. And I'm very okay with that. This was just one thing to help anyone who has this particular problem where vibrato just gets too confusing to think about, and there's too many things about, push, pull, or up or down, or arm, wrist, hand, finger. If that's sort of starting to become confusing and you get frustrated, and for anyone who's just starting to lose exactly what they need to do to develop a successful vibrato, keep it simple. Break it down. The one necessary thing among everyone's vibrato: flexibility in that last knuckle. If you can practice that, you're going to be in good shape. Your vibrato is going to develop nicely. So that's my opinion. Go ahead and practice this with whichever exercises you choose, and any positions on any strings. It all works depending on your level and what you want to do with your vibrato. So have fun practicing, everyone. And if you have any questions, leave them below. I'll answer them in another video about any technique, not just vibrato. And I'll see you in the next video.